Happy New Year to you, Darby.
Thank you. You know, I just kind of want to say, you don't love me. You just love my puggy style. I
I
got
love your what?
puggy style. These headphones that I just had to run and get, they're pugs.
Like the shitty, expensive sunglasses,
Yep,
pugs?
those and the hats
Huh.
and the $20 headphones that are just there, and I need them right now, so I have to get them.
But on the bright side, you don't sound like you have a ball gag in your mouth anymore.
Which is weird because, in fact, I do. As you're recording this, so these are great headphones, actually. I guess, or maybe it's just my sound equipment is good.
Yeah. Before, when we attempted to do this 20 minutes ago, it sounded like you had a pillow over your mouth and were trying to talk to me, and I couldn't understand a goddamn thing you were saying.
I am not sure how that's going to be received, but basically, Scott just put a big dildo in his mouth and started talking that way, and as to mimic how I sounded before when I had my ball gag. I think you got your dildo a little further than I
On
got
a
mine.
related note, would you tell your mom to quit leaving her shit at my house?
Well, I mean, she's kind of marking your territory. That's your fault. My bad. Anyway,
So what do you got planned for New Year's?
I'm
You doing anything fun with the kids or anything?
yeah. I'm gonna have my daughter and my son, and we are going to. There's this New Year's Eve thing down in some fairgrounds that are pretty close to where I live, so we're gonna go check that out.
What are they doing? Like food trucks and music and shit? Do you know?
Yeah. It's going to be a country music festival, which, okay, cool, fun. I live in a pretty rural area. Um, but yeah, that's about it. And I'm sure we're gonna see some cool stuff. What about you? What are you doing?
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I will likely be hanging out at home, getting stoned and watching movies.
Ah,
Not getting a fucking DUI.
that's good. That's good. If we had not, I'm not gonna be drinking with my kids and stuff, but at least not more than one. But I definitely won't be driving anywhere shortly after. But yeah, I'm gonna be drinking with the kids. So but we're within walking distance anyway, pretty much, more or less. I've walked further with
Well,
my
that's
kids.
perfect then. Just have your daughter guide the way home.
Yeah, yeah.
Put a leash on her. All right, take me home.
Yeah. um, how's your Christmas?
So you got a new tattoo, I saw.
Oh, I did. That was Santa.
What the fuck is that?
Santa got me a tattoo for Christmas. Um, it's a spider, but it's the African god Anansi.
And what is he the god of? It, the god of.
He's like a trickster storytelling god. He shape shifts and think African Loki,
Okay,
but specifically,
except a spider.
well, that's like his prime form, I guess. I don't know. He often
the
appears
spider
as a
form
spider.
gets you in 2 days.
What's that? What did you say?
It's an Amazon Prime
Oh.
joke. The spider gets to you in 2 days.
Ah.
It's the prime form.
Yeah. Sometimes next day if you pay a little more, or if you have Prime. Yeah. What? Okay. Yeah.
They just put an Amazon hub in towards Denver, so a lot of shit. I get 1 day shipping right now. It's pretty fucking awesome.
Ow. So I also fell down some stairs and I broke my butt, so my butt hurts. I've been butt hurt for like 4 days.
That's why your butt
Yeah.
hurts.
Yeah, that's why. Stairs, I promise. But I've been complaining about it to my kids, and they're kind of
Did you fall up or did you fall down?
Went down.
Was it at least icy, or were you just a plain old idiot?
It was in the middle of the night. I was going down to the bathroom, and it was on like. So this isn't the first time that these stairs have been slipped on, and not just by me, but they're kind of like when you're not paying attention and you step the wrong way. The carpet is such that like it's just kind of really slippery, and I was barefoot. So yeah, that sucked. I haven't been able to like sit in like a regular sitting position for 4 days.
Bust your tailbone, probably.
I don't think it's a tailbone. Tailbone seems fine, but it's off to like the right. Anyway, does all of our listeners want to hear about my butt medical condition? Medical butt condition?
Yes, let's hear about your butt bruising.
I don't think anybody's interested in any of that. Anyway, so this is the Higher Minds podcast.
It is. I'm Scott, and the guy with the busted butt is Darby.
I am. Yeah. So my butt hurts, and we're going to talk about... What are we talking about?
With it being the New Year's and everything, we're gonna look into the future here. Specifically, about 1,000 years into the future, and discuss what we think may or may not happen.
We are going to channel our inner Nostradamus, is what we're going to do.
Except we're just going to come straight out and say shit, not write it in poems that only make sense after the fact.
Well, but I know that Scott has several quatrains prepared for us, several original quatrains, right? Like you said that.
Oh, absolutely.
You're ready with those,
if we
right?
have time, we'll get to those at the end, if we have time.
So, I didn't know what to do with this. So what I did was just basically look 1,000 years into the past and look up a few things and then kind of talk about the future. I didn't write anything down for it.
Yeah, I got a handful of stuff that happened about 1,000 years ago, just to give us some perspective on how far we've come in the last 1,000 years. And then I figured we'd just smoke a bunch of weed and do some classic stoner talk on what we think the future is going to be about.
Okay. Well, I mean, I've already done that. Maybe in the middle we can take a break. But yeah,
while you were going and getting working headphones, I smoked another bowl. So
nice. I should have taken that time, but I didn't. Oh, dude. So my speaking of futuristic things, my son got a drone for Christmas, like with a camera built into the thing, so you don't have to use a cell phone. It is cool.
Like a big one, a little one.
Well, I mean, it's a little one. It's not like it's not going to carry anything, and it's big enough for a small camera. But I mean, it's got GPS. It's got a bunch of different super cool features. Like it's got one button, you flip it, it returns home no matter where where it is. It goes way high into the air.
And how many times has this been wrecked into a tree or the wall or whatever so far?
3 times. And all 3 of those times, it was me who did it. My son hasn't, okay, so he's kind of wrecked it, but, understandably wrecked it once. But, no, he's killed it. He flies that thing awesome. He's really, really good at it. He's crazy good at it. So I started showing him drone racing and stuff. In fact, I want to watch more of it.
That drone racing shit is awesome.
It is cool. I think he's good enough to do it. Not yet, but I think he can be good enough to do it. I don't know.
He could work up to it.
Absolutely. But the drone I got him was kind of a nice...
better and faster.
Yeah. But the drone I got him was pretty... It was mid-level. It's pretty nice. It stabilizes its stuff kind of thing. I mean, it's a modern, very workable drone. Like, you can go and spy on people with it. But I told him, don't ever go into somebody's yard because somebody will shoot it, and they should.
Oh, for sure. That's this Amazon drone delivery shit that they've been talking about for a while.
Yeah.
That's just trap shooting with prizes.
You know what? It would be like a video game. Like, you shoot it, destroy it, a box drops, and you go and look at it. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Stock up on your birdshot, everybody.
Fucking rednecks getting all kinds of cool free shit out
I
there.
know. That sounds fun, though. That sounds really fun. Like, I'm okay. Personally, if it's in your airspace, I think you have the right to shoot at it. As long as there's got to be some rules because people can get hurt, and I don't want people to get hurt. But
I think if you don't want them shot down, you should just fly them faster.
Or better, or higher. Because, I mean, like I said, this one, we got it up to 212 meters.
That's
Yeah.
fucking up there.
Oh, I mean, I got no. I almost got hit by goose like in formation. Like I saw the goose with my like I was looking up at it with my bare eyes and everything, and I saw it getting closer and closer, but like the depth perception was weird, like so I couldn't tell. So, but then I looked down at
Right. Yeah.
the screen on the controller, and there's like goose foot right in my face. It was crazy.
And you know the goose is going, what the fuck is this thing?
He's like, damn millennials. Anyway.
So let's get into what happened 1,000 years ago to give us some perspective on this.
Yeah, what happened?
So 1,000 years ago, roughly, give or take, was the first use of gunpowder in a battle.
Oh, really? What battle?
That was in China somewhere.
That's right, that Chinese thing. I have something Chinese in here too. Them
Well,
Chinese.
what do you have for the Chinese?
So this is in 1024. So it's slightly less than 1,000 years ago, but 4 years from now, 1,000 years ago. Our modern god, the first printed paper money, was born in China.
I did read something about that. Yeah, in China.
Yeah, so all praise the paper dollar.
I really doubt physical currency will make it another 1,000 years, actually.
I don't think so either. I mean, we barely use it now anyway.
Right. Yeah, everything's going to switch to digital.
Hopefully, there'll be a way to implement what is the term I'm looking for? Like Bitcoin, but decentralized. There we go. Decentralized money. That would make trade a lot fairer. It's the anarchist money.
Untraceable.
Yep.
No central authority has any control over it.
Nope. But it would be the equivalent of hiding your money under your bed, which is kind of the problem because it's extremely insecure that way. One of the reasons we have the credit system that we do, which I'm not sure where you fall on that. I'm not a big fan of the credit system, but anyway, the reason that we have the credit system as we do is because of the fears that we don't have the same fears that decentralized currency would, such as lack of security.
See, and I think if we were going to go back to like a say gold-based currency, that way actually makes sense because there's a limited amount of gold. You can't just print more gold out of nowhere. That's how, like, the U.S. dollar has gotten so fucking worthless over the last few decades. Is because they just keep on printing more and more of it. It's not backed up by anything other than the U.S. military.
Well, to say worthless is not entirely true. It's still one of the most valued currencies on the planet, if not the most right now.
It is for now.
The pound might be a little higher.
The wayside.
It will eventually, and it's definitely.
Oh yeah,
it's
The British
down,
pound is worth a bit more than the U.S. dollar is,
but not much.
I think the euro is worth more than the U.S. dollar is too.
I think the euro became pretty weak during the Greek thing a few years ago.
Let's look it up.
I might be wrong, but I don't think euros are very powerful. I think it's dollars and pounds now. But I'm not really tapped in.
1 euro equals $1.12.
So yeah, the dollar is more powerful. Yeah.
No, the euro is more powerful. The euro has more buying power than a dollar does.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, so the euro. What's the pound then?
Let's look up the pound. Pound's worth even more than a dollar is. That whole Brexit thing worked for them. A pound is worth $1.31.
It'll work for some people. It's not going to work for everybody.
Their money's worth more now. Money spends evenly.
We'll see.
My dollar spends just as well as your dollar does.
Well, I mean, that's not the only metric for living, though. I mean, a lot of people have. That would cause inflation, I think.
What would cause inflation?
not prepared to have this conversation, so I'm just gonna cut this shit out.
This is a different conversation.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna. Um. So forget that money talk. Well, not all the money talk. When we start inflation, fuck that. All right. Anyway, so 1,000 years ago, hail the money.
Also, 1,000 years ago, Leif Erikson discovered North America.
Oh yeah, is that true? I got a little Viking history too.
What do you have for Viking history?
So in 1028, 4 years after the print of money, Canute the Great sails from England to Norway with a fleet of 50 ships and defeats Olaf Haraldsson and is crowned King of Norway. Now, I will point out that the name of the conqueror, the King of Norway, was Canute, C-N-U-T. Now, this guy was known to be kind of a bastard. Like, he's an asshole, pompous. He's arrogant without really earning it. Think King Joffrey. He was very cunty.
The fuck
and the
is a
word
King
cunt
Joffrey?
from Game of Thrones. Everybody else will get it.
Oh, okay.
So he was very cunt-like, and the word cunt is a bastardization of Canute the Great. So he was really a great cunt.
I like hearing how words got their meaning and shit like that.
Don't. I just made that shit up just right now. Like, his real name was really Canute, but I don't think it has anything to do with Canut or cunt.
What Olaf did you say he conquered?
Olaf Haraldsson.
Harold.
H-A-R, 2 S's.
Because Olaf Tryggvason was the first Norwegian king, like the one that united Norway. I thought maybe that was the dude that kicked his ass.
It might be. I don't know. That's all I read. I didn't look too far into it.
Nope, different Olafs.
But I mean, if you met one Olaf, you kind of met all Olafs, right? Aren't we all
Olafs
Olaf?
are the same?
We're all, deep down, just a big Olaf. Together in our Olafness.
It's kind of a fun name to say, actually. Olaf.
Fucking Betty White was from St. Olaf, wasn't she?
Betty White was from St. Olaf. Yeah.
Or not Betty White herself, but
Her character on Golden Girls. Yeah.
whose name was Betty White, I guess. I don't really remember. We're going to have the Golden Girl Army come after us for not knowing her name. It's
I was
Rue
at the store the other
McClanahan.
day.
No, that's somebody else.
Stopped to flip through the different calendars that they had there for 2020, and there's a Golden Girls calendar sitting there, and I almost fucking bought it.
How did that become a cult classic? Do you remember the show that came on right after it, Empty Nest? That was a good show, too.
I don't remember that one at all. I remember watching Golden Girls
Exactly.
with my grandmother, like, years ago.
I don't know. I mean, it is a good show. It really was a good show, and it was kind of ahead of its time, especially when you look at it now. But, like, looking back on it, but why that one? What happened to Small Wonder? Do you remember Small Wonder? That was a
Never even
forward-thinking.
heard of Small Wonder.
It was about the robot little girl who's like looked real, but she was a robot and she did robot stuff, like remembered really well and did math really well. She was super strong. I watched it a lot, but I don't remember any of it. But what happened to that show? Small Wonder.
Yep. Never heard of it once in my life. But robots are a good fucking transition into what we think 1,000 years from now will look like. So
That's true.
Let's go ahead and roll into that one.
Except I've got a couple more 1,000 years ago things that I think are pertinent as well.
Well, why the fuck didn't you say those before you started bringing up little robot girls?
Because if you think of time or of existence in the fourth dimension, robots have always existed, then they will always exist. They've always been here, they will always be there. And so back then they were always here too, at the same time, but in a different time. Anyway. Yeah. So 1,000 years ago today, today, as in the day that this posts, the Julian calendar began.
Really?
Yeah.
That's only been 1,000 years.
Yeah. January 1st, 1020. 1020. But it was replaced by the Augustan calendar, which is what we use now, or some shit like that. We don't use the Julian calendar. Wait, do we use the Julian calendar? It said it got replaced 9 years later in 1029. I didn't really look it up, though. I don't know what it meant. I didn't really care that much. I'm stoned. And then the other thing that happened is the Book of Healing, a comprehensive scientific and philosophical encyclopedia written by the Persian polymath. Remember, Ben Franklin was a polymath, meaning, a guy that was really good at everything.
Not a guy that
guy's name was
fucking the French for freedom.
That was just one of Ben Franklin's
hobbies, contributions,
talents is what I was gonna say.
Talents, okay.
Like he was good at science and math and fucking French whores. This guy might have too, but he was good at medicine, I guess. But his name was Avicenna. Avicenna. He was Persian. Poison.
And what did he do?
He wrote this book
1,000 years ago.
A book of healing. He was apparently good at a bunch of different stuff. I didn't look it up. Do you want to look it up? You can look it up if you
Nothing but
want.
the best here.
We're kind of like the Dick's Last Resort of podcast. You want to know about it? Go fucking look it up yourself.
Here's a bunch of shit to look up after this episode that you'll forget about and never look up.
So anyway.
So 1,000 years from now.
1,000
Robots.
years from now. I'm going to quote my daughter a couple of times in this one. She said some pretty interesting things.
You discuss what she thinks 1,000 years from now look like?
Kind of. I tried to have a conversation, but she did say a couple of things. A couple of her thoughts on it, and they were pretty smart. You'll like them yourself. I was like, no way, Scott would think it's awesome.
I'm interested to see what the fuck she has.
Yeah.
So, robots. Let's circle back around to that one since you're talking about little robot girls.
Robots?
How advanced do you think those are going to get? I don't think it's going to take 1,000 years for them to get pretty fucking advanced.
Well, okay, so my philosophy on that is that it's known that the human population can take the doubling of technological advancement every 7 years or so. Or, I don't know how that's quantitated, but that's the general notion.
Right.
Whereas, and I think that a lot of way, way, way more advanced technology that we can even think about is out there. I.e. Tesla, DARPA has a bunch of shit like that. And so once it happens that AI is actually born, is self-realized, and has control over some systems, that 7 years jumps down to milliseconds. And so it would advance almost to its ultimate form almost immediately. And so I don't think it's going to take 1,000 years for AI to get born in such a way, become self-realized in such a way, and get control over certain systems in such a way. We're talking Terminator style. More like the movie AI, though.
You can look at what companies like Boston Dynamics are doing nowadays. Are you familiar with them?
What's the name?
They made the big dog robot, Boston Dynamics.
Oh, yeah, I am. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen those videos.
That big dog robot creeps the shit out of me. Like,
It's awesome, isn't it?
it fucking, I don't know what it is, but it doesn't make me feel well.
We are engineering our own doom. It's pretty fascinating.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it was them or another robotics company was working on a bipedal robot that can walk on its own and everything, and it can fucking jump and pick itself up and grab boxes, put them on shelves. Like, it's fucking impressive shit.
Yeah.
And that's what we have now. Like, probably within our lifetime, we'll see shit that is almost indiscernible from real organic humans to robots.
Between that and the need for a certain segment of the population to make sex dolls as realistic as possible, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
the sex robot thing too. Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
but just like
what's humans?
with manufacturing jobs got taken over by robots.
More or less.
Most shit is gonna get taken over by robots. There will be robot repairmen, and not a whole lot of other things that we need humans to do.
So,
And you only need robot repairmen for a little while before they figure out how to program robots to repair robots.
so I work. I can't say where I work, but and I'm not sure how much how much I've signed that I can't say about it. But I work or have worked in a warehouse where they have Jetson like carts like rolling around, self-thinking, not guided by anything, just organized by the internal guidance system, just rolling around, beeping at like people that
Yeah,
are in
it's all
their way.
GPS and RFID and shit.
Yeah, I mean it's very, I mean it's super cool looking, but it's creepy. Like, I mean, they're sitting there doing three people's jobs right there themselves, just all over the warehouse.
Yeah, we're gonna get to a point where humans don't have to do very much anymore.
Oh, that's our goal.
We'll have machines doing most of the shit for us. Right.
That and okay, so that
I mean, even with the Tesla cars now, like, you have mostly self-driving vehicles now. They still need some human input every once in a while, but within a few decades, you'll be able to just completely get in a car and it'll go where you need it to go.
yeah.
And if we're looking at 1,000 years into the future, who knows what the fuck we'll have vehicle-wise.
Yeah.
For terrestrial travel, at least.
So there's that kind of brings me to what my daughter was saying regarding robots and terrestrial travel. There's the idea that, and we'll get into this a little bit in a future episode that's scheduled, the simulation idea. But not exactly that. What I mean is that in our current reality, that there's the idea of uploading our consciousness into like a cloud, or uploading it into a hard drive, a physical hard drive, computer hard drive.
Right.
And that would be in an effort to attain immortality. The problem with what my daughter said about that is, though, that's a very bad idea, because once you do that, you are subject to government control. They would control you and your thoughts and your ideas about you, because you're a physical controllable system.
I don't think we're going to need to
Why is that?
upload. With the medical advancements in medicine preventing disease in general, to being able to do organ transplants or non-biological transplants like pacemakers and shit like that, robotic kidneys and
Cyborgian?
Yeah, cyborgian, I guess. Between being able to grow replacement organs in labs and being able to replace them with robotic pieces or whatever, like a hip replacement, whatever. I think there's not going to be very much longer in human history where death is a regular thing. If you're not just outright killed by something, dying of old age won't be a thing.
I think that's absolutely possible, and that's the goal of current medicine, I believe. Current medical research, I think that's the goal. If not, what would be? But so that begs the question, though, like, what would remain the same? Just the brain? Because that wears out eventually, too. Especially with, like, Alzheimer's and shit.
Yeah, eventually the brain is going to wear out.
So,
Right. But with the medical advancements, we'll probably be able to figure out a way to prevent things like Alzheimer's or dementia
just
or whatever.
keep the brain
ALS.
alive ad infinitum, you think? Or do you think that they'd construct
Yeah, I think eventually we'll be able to pretty much just stop aging with gene editing and shit like that. Because there's already animals. I think the lobsters, if I remember right. There's no lobsters don't die of old age. Like they have a gene that just keeps on going.
Interesting.
So if they could figure out a way to gene edit that in with us, they could essentially stop aging.
Baby Yoda, he's 50 years old, but he's a baby. I mean, there's that.
Right.
How do they do that? That's amazing.
Are you finally watching that goddamn show?
Yeah, I've watched it. My son and I have to watch the last one.
You haven't seen the last one.
No.
That was the season finale.
I saw your pseudo spoiler. I know a little bit of something about it. I at least know your opinion about it.
It kind of pissed me off.
Yeah.
There's one scene in particular that I think Disney kind of fucked it up and ruined it.
I'll check it out. I'll probably know what you're talking about.
I'm not going to spoil it for you or anybody who hasn't listened to it yet. But
not that your opinion is not hard
really,
to come
if you didn't want to be fucking spoiled, you'd have watched it this weekend anyways.
Well, it is Christmas and New Year's and weekend and stuff. I mean, I've been crazy busy. I've been super busy. There's so much I've been trying to get done that I just have not gotten done. Happy New Year, 2020! Yay!
Fuck, were we talking about? People not aging anymore.
Not
That's
aging.
what we're talking about.
Uploading your consciousness.
So you were kind of talking about the singularity, and that's going to happen within our lifetime.
Maybe. Okay, so there's several definitions of singularity. Are you talking about the singularity that AI is born? Or are you talking about the singularity when we are able to upload?
No, that basically computers can keep up with us.
Oh. I think we're there. We're right there on the lip. Like, we're about to fall into that.
We're getting close. From what I've read, estimates put it between like 2040 and 2050. We'll hit the singularity.
If not sooner. I mean, because the closer we get, the
yeah,
faster it happens.
Sooner. Right.
Yeah.
But I think they pushed this off. It seems like I remember reading a couple of years ago, they're estimating like 2030 or something like that. So it sounds like it might have gotten pushed back a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, they're amazing. I'm just considering what that drone can do. Like, you know what though? I'm old. I'm older than a millennial, which is, I guess, a different thing than I thought it was. But anyway, I was amazed when cameras started having phones. That blew my mind. Like,
when phones started having cameras, you mean?
Yeah, whatever I said. I mean, that was amazing. The ability to transmit what you're seeing right now in real time to somebody else that's not there was amazing.
What do you just think? When was the last time you used your phone as a phone? You actually picked it up and called somebody and had a conversation over the phone.
I mean,
most of what we use it for nowadays is text messaging and internet surfing and
yeah, for sure,
taking photos and shit.
I mean,
most of what we use a phone for is not what a phone was initially designed for.
Right. No, I mean,
and we've only had phones for 100 years.
I guess about 100 years, isn't it? Yeah, we're 2020, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow, we're 2020.
Yeah, we've gone from old-timey wind it up and call the operator to having a computer in our pocket.
That's more jobs.
That can also make phone calls.
Yeah. Do you realize that our phones are more advanced than Penny from Inspector Gadget's book? Like, that was awesome back then.
I only barely remember Inspector Gadget.
Jesus.
That wasn't my cartoon.
You know Tom and Jerry, right?
I remember Tom and Jerry, yeah.
That's weird because it's way older.
Well, yeah, but it's a classic.
So is Inspector Gadget.
Tom and Jerry is timeless.
Inspector Gadget is not. You were right. You know what else is timeless?
Yep.
I was talking to the tattoo artist about this. I want like a Frank Miller style grizzled with a stogie Darkwing Duck.
That would be pretty fucking awesome, actually.
Yeah. Like,
I can see that as a neck tattoo. I don't know why. I just picture that on a neck.
Totally do that with like holding the head, like the dismembered head of Launchpad or something.
Right.
Yeah, maybe in 1,000 years.
What do you think we're going to be using energy-wise come 1,000 years from now?
It depends.
Because not to get political, but I think it's pretty clear that by that point, fossil fuels will have been more than used up. We will have had to have found something else by then.
You had to have, but so it's either one of two things. It's either solar or nuclear.
Exactly. That's what I was leaning towards too.
Yeah. Solar would be the obvious, the best choice. It's the most plentiful. We're going to have the sun for another 5 billion years at least. But hopefully we are also not anywhere. There are colonies of us not anywhere near our sun. In that case, they will have to use something like nuclear unless we find something else.
Right. Right. Yeah, as far as terrestrial power goes, I think solar is probably the way to go about
Or
it.
even solar system within anywhere within the solar system. It's beyond the solar system that becomes a problem.
Yeah. But like Mars gets I just read this the other day. I want to say it's something like 40% of the sunlight that Earth
Yeah.
gets. So by the time you get to Mars, you would have to have something either way, way more efficient or something else.
Well, I do think the efficiency will drastically increase, but you're right. There is a point past. There is a certain point where getting sufficient photon emissions from our sun would not be sufficient. In that case, you'd have to find something else. Hopefully there's another way. Like if you're on Enceladus, Enceladus is a moon of Jupiter, I believe. Yeah, Jupiter. That is mostly comprised of water, and it apparently is salt water because it has electromagnetic properties. And if we can find a way to harness just breaking apart the atoms in basically using hydrogen fuel, is what I'm trying to get at.
Right.
There are so much in the water within the solar system that would also be extremely plentiful, much more so than any oil that we've ever had. But then again, that is also a finite source.
And with hydrogen, we have technology now that can convert hydrogen into fuel for us. It's just not very efficient. So come 1,000 years from now, or less, more than likely, we could have the efficiency of that much more capable of being sustainable and efficient.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a conspiracy theory that, yes, we have a perfectly functioning, just like internal combustion, gasoline-powered engine, hydrogen-powered engine.
Yeah, I've read about that before.
So, if we can think about it, I think the government already did it. So it's my opinion that yes, the government has that kind of power, can do that kind of powering source, but we just don't have it now. You're right. So eventually, it would come about.
Yeah, I think long term, nuclear is probably the best way to go about it. Despite what you might hear in the media, whatever, nuclear is very safe compared to things like coal-fired plants or hydroelectric plants or whatever.
You're entirely right. The problems that we've had with nuclear are completely preventable and man-made mostly.
Right.
But then again,
a good portion of naval ships floating around the oceans, those are nuclear powered. Submarines, carriers, whatever. And they never have any fucking issues.
Right.
There's nuclear power plants all over the world, and very rarely do you hear about one having an issue.
They're all built by the lowest bidder, too.
Fukushima and, I'm spacing that one. What the fuck was that one from the Ukraine? Chernobyl,
yeah.
Those being the two most famous ones.
3
Mile Island happened exactly the way it was supposed to. That wasn't a leak or anything. That happened exactly the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, I don't know too much about that one.
That was best case scenario for something going wrong.
I don't know too much about that one. But then again, so yes, if we are going to, as the crow flies, get from point A to point B across the solar system or even into other solar systems, nuclear power right now seems to be the most viable way. However, there has recently been discovery of a fifth fundamental universal force. Have you heard about this?
I have not.
So,
Does it have anything to do with metachlorians?
well, chances are no, but the the data isn't back yet on that. I'm looking up this. I save this to my gallery, which is
While
y'all.
you're doing that, I'm going to spark a joint.
So, physicists discover evidence of a new force of nature. Now, this is from Futurism. So far, physicists and I have independently looked this up in like the actual um, academic journals and stuff. And this what they're talking about is all absolutely true. Um, so far, physicists have identified four fundamental forces of nature: gravity, electromagnetism, the strong nuclear force, and weak nuclear force. But now researchers have found new evidence for a fifth force of nature, and it could finally help us unravel the mystery of dark matter. So I could go into what all that shit means and everything, like what they did and how they found that out and what that all means. But basically, what that means is, and it's very base. We have no idea what's going on with the universe. We just don't know. This will allow us. This will allow us all sorts of cool things to be able to view and test and experiment on. This brings me to the idea of traveling throughout the universe, which would be wormhole style, which is kind of what everybody wants to do. And if you remember from our dimensions episode, wormhole is just taking a piece of space and bringing it to another piece of space rather than traveling analog style between those two.
Instead of traveling the straight line, you fold space.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes. So
we've referenced that episode so fucking much.
Yeah. But there's so much information that comes out of it, and so much of reality just kind of...
There was a ton of info.
There was, wasn't there?
So before we get to wormholes and everything, what do you expect to happen first? A Mars station or some sort of a space station?
Well, we already have a space station.
Or even a Venus station.
Venus.
I'm talking more than like a dozen people at a time. Like I'm talking like a colony type size space station.
Mars would be first, definitely. I think the moon might be second.
You think so?
Venus, yeah. I don't think would happen is because we can't live in the atmosphere or anywhere on Venus. And
seeing from what I was looking at and reading and everything, they think that it might be possible to do like a cloud city type thing in Venus. If you get up high enough in the atmosphere, it's cool enough for us, and you could just essentially do like zeppelins and shit.
So there's that, but there's also, you wouldn't be able to glean any resources from the area, like circling the sun there. Like you wouldn't be able to get any resources from the ground, and I think there's a moon. You can't get anything from the moon. It's not a sustainable society.
No, from what I was reading, I think they were talking about using it as sort of a jumping off point, or an escape, or whatever.
Sure. In that
they
case,
think it would be easier to do like a cloud-based city versus a terrestrial city on Venus versus Mars, just from the couple things that I had read.
Well, in that case, I don't think it would be like a civilian city. I think it would be more like a military post,
like a military outpost.
Yeah, and in that case, I think that they want something on every single planet on every single moon, and that's hundreds of objects.
And I think that's likely the way this will go to start with anyways, is it'd be military exploration of space.
They're the ones that have the money and the will.
Although companies like SpaceX and shit.
And the bodies.
There could be a private wing of that too, I guess.
I don't think there's enough public will for that sort of exploration because it's going to take lives to do it. And I think the military is the only one that's willing to take lives. I don't think corporations can do that as easily. They can, and they do, and they have, but I don't think it's as easy.
Yeah, I don't think it's as mainstream acceptable.
So yeah, I hope we're alive in 1,000 years. I mean,
Well, we won't be, but somebody
I
might
mean, I
be.
hope people. I hope all life that is currently alive is. I do mean us. I mean, I want to see what incredible things there are to discover in the universe. I want to live that long. I know I won't, but I'd love to.
I read a thing a while back. It said about we were born too late to explore the world and too early to explore the universe.
Yeah,
And I was like, yeah, that's pretty much where we're fucking at right
yeah.
now.
But that was kind of a. I totally agree with that. But that was kind of a. Do you remember back in the '90s when America was on top and capitalism was awesome and teenagers were getting angsty and moody and upset just because that they were lives were too good and too happy? Like,
Pre 9/11,
well, and then 9/11 happened, and then kids went to war.
and everything
Yeah.
went to shit.
Yeah, so that sentiment comes from that era, and that's what I always think of. Not that it's wrong; it's just, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Maybe. I don't know. I like the idea of exploring things and discovering new shit, and for the most part, everything's already been discovered here on Earth.
I mean,
They find shit in the jungle every once in a while, but
yeah, I mean we've got most of it mapped. There, there's a
Yeah.
lot of.
the oceans are still largely unexplored.
It's
but
mostly details.
we tend to do much better with negative pressure than extreme pressure.
Yeah. Well,
It's easier to keep space out than it is to keep the
I
sea
get
out.
you're right. Maybe. I never thought of it that way. I didn't think about that. Yeah. Um.
I mean, more people have been to the moon than have been to the bottom of the Marianas Trench.
Has anybody been to the bottom?
Yeah, like
Oh, okay.
2 or 3. It's not many. There's been 12 people walked on the moon, and only a handful of people have been to the very deepest part of the ocean.
Alice, to the moon. One of these days. Yeah. I forget their names. What are their names? The honeymooners.
What the fuck were the
Anyway, the
names?
honeymooners. They're all about
remember.
punching
Yeah.
their women.
There's a reference most of the audience probably won't fucking get.
Back in the day, there was this show that everybody thought was funny when this guy threatened to punch his woman so hard she would fly to the moon, and that was hilarious.
Pow, right in the
Yeah,
kisser.
that's. I am against abuse of any kind,
Domestic
Don't
abuse
punch
is
anybody.
hilarious.
unless they're punching you, and that person shouldn't be punching you in the first place. For shame.
But every once in a while, it's okay to put your wife in her place.
Right to the moon. Ha 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 ha.
Hey, Darby, why didn't your marriage work out?
Oh man, I never hit her so hard she went to the moon. I never hit her at all, ever, 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 ever. That's not me. I don't do that ever. But it also definitely wasn't as hard to get to the moon.
That sounds exactly like something somebody
Right,
who beat their
right.
wife would
But
say,
this
though.
is forever, so I really want to make it clear.
that your wife beat her.
No, never, ever, ever. Wife beaters deserve to. Wife beaters are a step above pedophiles,
So it is better to beat your wife than fuck a child.
for sure. Yes, hands
So
down.
if you ever want to fuck a child, just go beat up a woman.
That is the better alternative. I mean, don't do that either. You could also have hot soup. You know, you could do all sorts of other things. But yes,
So it's hot soup, wife beating, pedophiles.
if those are the only three choices, that is the order. Yes. But there's also salad. I don't know where you put that in.
So salad, soup, no unlimited breadsticks. Fuck unlimited breadsticks. Wife beating and pedophilia.
See, now you're going to have to. Now you're going to make me have to kind of disagree with that order, and it's going to sound like I'm for pedophilia, which I'm totally not. I'm not so sure that order is right, top two, bottom two, whatever. The bottom two. See, now you're making me question that. Come on, Scott. Is it better, bad, or bad, better?
I don't know how much farther I can dig this hole for you.
Yeah. 1,000 years in the future, people.
1,000 years in the future, wife beating and pedophilia will be
Eradicated.
perfectly acceptable.
Eradicated.
Oh, we went different routes on that one.
Yeah. We did. Which. No, I'm not concerned. No.
If you're listening to this episode 1,000 years from now, 1, how the fuck did you find this? And 2, who's right? Is it okay to beat your wife and fuck kids, or is it not okay?
Email us at.
Yes. Email us at highermindspodcast@gmail.com circa 1,000 years ago.
Yes. Or however we're doing it now. Maybe you're thinking it at us. But wouldn't it be cool if we were like the Bill and Ted of podcasting? George Carlin is going to come back from the future and get us, and now our podcasting right now is going to save the universe in the future in 1,000 years.
You know, if it involves George Carlin, I am perfectly okay with that scenario folding out.
That was...
I miss George Carlin. Carlin was fucking awesome.
That was the dildo mold that you used before at the beginning of the show, isn't it? That was a George Carlin cock?
Yes, yes. Molded off of the real thing.
Yeah, it's bigger than you'd think. Go Carlin.
That's why you never see George Carlin wearing shorts. He always has long pants on.
Yeah.
Tucked it into his tube sock.
You think that's his knee. Anyway.
Old peg leg George.
So just in the middle of this, I got an attachment from Chance. Do you remember Chance?
Yeah. What's Chance?
A message. I don't know. What did he say? He sent me a picture of.
Oh, it's his penis.
Well, it's the the bad guy from Thor Ragnarok. Not Ragnarok. The one where he goes to the other planet.
I have no idea. The Thor movies were probably the worst of the Marvel movies.
Oh, really. I liked them. The worst. Okay, so objectively speaking, the worst of the Marvel movies, I think were probably the Hulk movies.
Only one of the Hulk movies is actually canon, though.
That's true, but no.
The Edward Norton one is the only one that's actually MCU.
Actually, I'm going to disagree with that. I'm going to change that. I'm going to say that.
And I'm in the minority. I like fucking what's his ass better than Mark Ruffalo as Hulk.
I do like Mark Ruffalo.
Edward Norton.
I liked them all three. I thought they were all good. But no, I think the Captain America ones were the worst. Like the first Captain America, it was boring.
I know I've seen the first one. I don't know if I've ever seen any of the other Captain America movies.
Sure you have. The one with Winter Soldier, Civil War. Those are both Captain America movies.
Oh, no, I did see Civil War. I forget that was Captain America, not Avengers.
That was a good one. Civil War was very good. But, yeah. Anyway. That'd be cool if we had...
I'm so glad they're done with those.
For
now. Maybe.
I just saw...
hopefully.
I went to go see the Rise of Skywalker. Pretty good. And they...
I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah. And they showed a trailer for Scarlet... no, I'm sorry. Black Widow.
Scarlet Witch?
I was thinking Scarlett Johansson, but Black Widow. And... I don't know.
Well, that is annoying that Scarlett Johansson and Scarlet Witch take place in the same...
I mean, it was a missed opportunity universe. For sure. Yeah.
I don't know who the hell had to cast as Black Widow, though, instead of Scarlett Johansson.
You know, instead of...
Mila Jovovich? I could see that, maybe.
I guess. I don't know. Well, she does have the accent. She's Russian.
Yeah.
Or at least Eastern
She's
European.
An action chick. She did all the Resident Evil movies. Like, you know she can do that kind of shit.
Yeah. You're right. Although, I don't know. I don't want to see her again doing the same thing. I mean, it'd be the same thing.
Yeah, you got a point. It's just superhero shit instead of zombie shit.
Yeah.
So, speaking of fucking zombies and alien Marvel invasion bullshit. Alien contact. You think we're gonna officially find other life in the universe in the next 1,000 years?
So I think we all know that my opinion is that aliens are a real part of daily life now. Not Men in Black style, but within the government.
Okay, I was just gonna ask Men in Black style, like they're walking around with us.
I
And
mean,
shit,
I don't
or
think that's
what?
within or outside of the realm of possibility, but more. I'm talking about more like in a dealing with the government and higher politicians and kind of experimenting with us, whether physically or not. More like just kind of seeing where we're going, what we're doing.
Valiant Thor style. Remember him from the Alien episode?
I
Or are you talking like Underground Area 51 style?
I don't think that they're both. I don't think there's a reason to think that there's more than one type of interaction. But if there is, of course, the fact that their technology, I've said before, would automatically just the fact that they can be here and be here undetected. Their technology is by and far like way more advanced than us. Um, so
What do you think is more likely? A Star Wars type universe where all these different species get along from different planets and everything? Or a Starship Troopers type universe where we just go to war with them?
I am kind of neither, kind of both. I'm more of the mind that it would be more like Star Trek.
So, gay?
There might be some gayosity. Gaydom. Sure. That's okay. It's 2020. You're allowed to be. But how aficionado like are you with Star Trek? By the way, nerdums, if you haven't listened,
I know almost nothing about Star
I
Trek.
went on like a 20-minute rant about nothing that had to do with the topic, all about Star Trek and Q,
What I know about Star Trek, I learned from you from that fucking episode.
which is very very small. So, I think
So go back and listen to that Nerdum episode.
yes,
And you'll know everything I know about Star Trek.
and you're about to learn some more, yo. Um, so I think it's more realistic that there are a bunch of different species out there, some of which are advanced, some of which are not. All of the advanced ones, that being the ones that can communicate with other species from different planets, are kind of experimenting or at least watching other underdeveloped species such as us evolve, so that
Similar, how do we do?
right. But that's also a very anthropomorphic idea of what's going on, and that's a very narrow view of what is possible out there. I mean, there's probably beings out there that very many beings that we just aren't able to observe or communicate with because they're out of our spectral range for some reason or another.
See, and I think it's mathematically impossible that this is the only planet with life on it.
It's
And I think if you look at the diversity of the life just on this planet, and you multiply that by how many various planets could have life on them, you get that many different possible forms of life.
in that many different
We humans are the most advanced thing on dirt.
that we know of.
But in the oceans, you have shit like that dolphins and fucking orcas and whales and octopus and shit that are potentially just as intelligent as we are. It's just they live underwater, so they don't have the capability of building things. They don't have the capability of harnessing fire and shit.
Yeah.
So I think you get out there to other planets, there's going to be terrestrial life similar to us, and there's going to be shit similar to like what we have in our oceans and whatever.
And so in 1,000 years,
or whatever the planet
right.
is made
And
of.
so in 1,000 years, I hope to be at a place where we either discover that yes, there is something out there that we are able to talk, communicate with, and that accepts us, or that I doubt that would be unique, but discover more about this, about what's out there in life and its possibility of intelligence. Just more.
And there's another thought process out there that we might be the first planet to have developed life. Or we might be the last remaining planet that has life on it still.
Both highly unlikely.
Mathematically, anything is possible.
Yeah. I mean, there's the whole idea that we're a simulation, in which case it's being built for us, so we'll be told eventually something, one way or the other.
Right.
But we'll talk about that later.
The more I read about simulation theory, the more I start to, well, maybe. Like, it's an interesting theory.
It is.
We're going to do an episode of that at some point in the
It's
future.
scheduled, right?
I think it is.
But anyway, so yeah, we are going to be giving away t-shirts and stuff. We are going to be giving t-shirts away to the first person who emails us, which, hasn't happened yet. Well, we got a couple emails, but not from before, so not since this.
The last episode didn't get uploaded everywhere correctly the first time, though. So
Yeah, so apparently it is now.
there was some technical difficulties with
I'm
that.
not sure what's going on.
I checked it again this morning, so as of recording this, it looks like everything is back
Yeah,
up
I think
to
so.
date.
I think so. I asked him about it yesterday. I was terribly busy, but or no, I was getting my tattoo at the time. That's right. But apparently it got fixed. So thank you. That's our guy Dean. Thank you, Dean. But email us at higherminds.
Good
Yes.
job, Dean.
Email us at highermindspodcast at gmail.com. You can hear us on Higher Minds Podcast.
Higher Minds Podcast at Gmail.
You can hear us on highermindspodcast .com. That's our website.
HigherMindsPodcast.com.
Of course, talk to us on Facebook and Instagram and all sorts of stuff. Twitter should be up soon.
Or are you actually going to start doing a Twitter now?
Katie's going to help us out with that.
Oh, go Katie.
Yeah.
She can have all the fun she wants with Twitter.
Yeah. Fun. So we'll have t-shirts soon. Email us. And this has been the Higher Minds Podcast.
It has. Happy New Year's, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Stay safe. Don't
Yep.
drink and drive.
Nope, don't do that.
Don't smoke and drive.
Nope, but smoke a lot. I'm Papa Darby.
I'm Scott. Deuces.
Deuces.
Everybody.